Hi there, this is Tanvir Ahmed Naran and my student ID is 2023045546. And to be honest, this is going to be one of my last presentation with Asia Pacific International College, as this is my last trimester and we are almost at the end. So I will be discussing about one of the core subject, that is digital forensics, and this is about our case study and the report on target data breach that's happened in 2013. So the course is for ICT 3052. This is our course ID. So without any further delay, I will be going to the discussion. So, what's the presentation and what's the purpose of the presentation? The purpose of the presentation is that it summarizes the evidence and the forensic findings from assessment number two that has been already submitted and framed within a simulated court setting. The report will be examined and challenged by student, prosecutors, and defense counsel, focusing on the presentation of evidence reasoning and defending the findings. Uh, After that, we'll go to the next slide. That's actually give us a glance at the brief note what we're gonna do in this presentation. So there is three parts. One part is initial compromise, that attackers obtain the credentials from a third-party HBSC vendor to access target's internal network, bypassing the parameter of defenses. The second part is malware deployment, which is like malicious software is being installed on point of sale or POS systems to capture the payment card data in real time. And the third one is data theft and delayed detection. We can see an example of over 110 million customers' payment information was stolen, with intrusion going undetected due to slow response to multiple security alerts. On the next slide, basically slide 4, we are going to talk about the framework of the forensic investigation. There are different distinguished phases, objectives, and key methods of every single phases. I will talk about every single one by one. The first phase is planning, and the objective of the planning is to define the scope, and there are some key methods like incident scoping and legal checks. The second phase is evidence collection. The objective is to acquire volatility and non-volatile evidences. And the method is like disk imaging and long extraction. And the third phase is validation. And validation is basically ensuring the evidence integrity and authenticity. And the method can be SHA-256 cryptographic hashing. And the fourth phase is analysis, and the objective is to reconstruct the timeline and identify the techniques. And the method of that is malware analysis and log correlation. The last phase is reporting, which main objective is to document findings and recommendations. And key method is to structure root cause reporting. In the fifth slide, we're going to talk about the evidence acquisition and chain of custody. And for that reason, we have to understand the preserving of evidence integrity. And we can say that digital evidence is acquired through disk imaging, log extraction, and memory capture without altering the source. Write blockers are used to protect the original data during the collection. The chain of custody records maintain timestamps, responsible individuals, and signatures to ensure forensic integrity and legal admissibility. In the sixth slide, we're going to talk about the hashing and evidence integrity. And we can see that is divided into different levels and different parts. And there are so many algorithms, their security level, speed, collision resistance, and the forensics use. The first level is like MD5. The security level of that one is pretty low, and the speed is pretty high, but the collision resistance is weak, so it is depreciated to use. And the second one is SH1, which security level is medium, the speed is medium, and still the collision resistance is weak, and it is a legacy use term. And SHA-256, the security level is high, the speed is pretty medium, but collision resistance is strong, and it is one of the best things to use, and it's pretty recommended. Now we're going to talk about the forensics tools that we have used in this term and in this subject. The first one is FTK Imager. Then you have autopsy, and we have stealth kit, we have volatility, HXD, and Wireshark. FTK measure is something that helps to create forensic copies of storage media while preserving the metadata. Autopsy provides a graphical interface to analyze the file systems. The search kit is for command line utilities for deep investigation. And volatility is analyzes memory dumps to detect running processes and identify fileless malware artifacts. HXD is the editor for raw binary data inspection to find hidden or corrupted information. And Wireshark is one of the main tools that we can use over here that captures and inspects the network traffic to detect suspicious activities. In the slide number 8, we're going to talk about the reverse engineering and malware analysis. There is two types of reverse engineering. One type is static, another one is dynamic. The static analysis uses tools like IDA Pro and Kintra to examine malware code structure. And the dynamic analysis runs malware in isolated virtual machines such as virtual machine wire or virtual box. And right now we're going to talk about the Metro attack and vulnerability context. First attack is like initial access. Initial access is caused by compromised third-party vendor credential used for network entry. The second one is execution. Execution is something like malware deployed on POS system to extract payment data. And the third one is persistent. It is a mechanism that is installed to maintain the access while avoiding the detection. Then there is some lateral movement exploiting weak network segmentation. And then we have the exfiltration, which is something to do with payment card. It collects data and sends to the external servers. Then we have vulnerability example and the explanation of that. One of the example is CB20130343. The explanation of that one is that unpatched vulnerability allowing arbitrary code execution highlights the need of timely patching. In the slide number 10, we will talk about the security failures that has been identified in this process of investigation. The first one is delayed incident response. The target did not act promptly on security alerts, allowing the attackers extended presence in the network. The second one is weak network segmentation. That is something like flat internal network that has been allowed attackers to move laterally and access sensitive information inside the system. The third one is the poor vendor management, which is compromised third-party vendor credentials facilitate initial access to the network. And the fourth one is inadequate endpoint protection. That malware has already been successfully deployed on point of sale system due to the insufficient endpoint security. In the 11th slide, we're going to talk about some recommendations. The first recommendation is to do the prevention. There is a saying in this world is prevention is better than cure. So we should look on that to adopt zero trust architecture and multi-factor authentication to minimize the unauthorized access and ensure strict vendor access controls. The second one is detection. Implemented the continuous monitoring system with SIEM systems for real-time alerting and comprehensive visibility of the network activity. And the third one is response. Response is basically deploying the endpoint detection and response tools combined with regular patching to quickly identify and remediate the threats. In the 12th slide, we're gonna talk about the life lessons that has been taken from this kind of investigation. For me, at least, I got to know that cybersecurity is a holistic organizational commitment. It is not something any individual can do. And the target reach highlights that technological tools alone are not enough. Effective governance, prompt incident response, rigorous third-party risk management, and continuous security monitoring are essential to prevent and mitigate the breaches.